So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our Curry era rebuild series. Today it's going to be the Boston Celtics. This era of Celtics basketball was a ton of fun. There were never really serious expectations, but whatever expectations were there, it really kind of felt like this team always overachieved and exceeded them. Now, this, of course, was the Isaiah Thomas era in Boston. It was not a long one, but it was a very, very fun and very memorable one. So my goal today is to hopefully get him a ring. Of course, never ended up getting one. Throughout his NBA career, it kind of went to hell after he left the Celtics. And yeah, I miss IT every day. I want to get him a championship today. We'll dive into this roster a little bit more and how I think everybody's going to impact this team. But of course, before we do, let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comments section. I've been having a blast with these rebuilds and the trading every player rebuilds and some of the challenges we have been doing. So whatever you guys want to see next, let me know down below. Let's get into this one. So I know we talked a little in the intro about the expectations that this team kind of had heading into this season. Now, this was a team that was in kind of the middle of a rebuild, right? We're only a few years removed of the big blockbuster trade that sent Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry all to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, obviously, that deal ended up working out absolutely magnificently for the Celtics because they got Jaylen Brown, they got Jason Tatum, and a whole bunch of other different pieces. But this was a team that had won 53 games. They won the Eastern Conference in terms of the regular season. They got smoked by LeBron and the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals in 5, but this was a group that was ahead of schedule. And honestly, it was some of my favorite basketball memories ever. And I know it's kind of crazy to say because my Celtics did win the finals last year, but man, I miss it. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, of course, there are some notable names missing, as there are with pretty much every single team. Avery Bradley, one of those notable names. He was the second leading scorer for this Celtics team throughout this season, and it would have been very, very nice to have him today, but of course, he doesn't have the rights, or 2K doesn't anyways, for him to be in the game. Outside of him, we're missing guys like Jonas Jerebko and Amir Johnson, some nice quality role players, but nothing we're going to miss too much. So, unfortunate on Bradley. Would have been nice to have his defense next to 5'9" Isaiah Thomas, but we'll work with it. So let's get into it. Isaiah Thomas, this is going to be his second full season here with the Celtics. He came in 5th in MVP voting this season, and he really kind of turned this franchise around, right? It wasn't a long time that this team sucked after the Pierce and Garnett trade, but there were a couple years in there where there wasn't really a franchise guy or a face of the franchise or a star that could have led this team to really anything. And Isaiah Thomas obviously came in for a very short time and did do that. So, you know, we'll always be appreciative here in Boston. I miss you every day. Really wish we could have got that ring. 22-year-old Marcus Smart, going to be heading into his 3rd year here in this video. Another guy that I miss every single day, not to get nostalgic on all of you, but my goal with him today is just to develop him as much as possible through these 3 years and hopefully have him be a really impactful player by the time year 3 does wrap up. We have a 22-year-old Scary Terry, who developed into a quality NBA player, of course. I mean, looking at those rookie year numbers, there is not a lot there, and it certainly leaves a lot to be desired. But at a 72 overall, we'll definitely find him some minutes here today because, of course, we do know what he turns into. I have no idea who Paul these are not real players. You can just ignore them. Now, we head to the shooting guard spot. One and only guy listed here is Gerald Green. Of course, Avery Bradley should be here, but he is not. So I wish he was. The small forward spot's going to be Jay Crowder and Jaylen Brown. Jay Crowder actually had a lot of really good moments with the Celtics. I think some of the best basketball of his career was in Boston, but I like the contract quite a bit. Eventually, I'd like to maybe move him into a bench role, but for now, he'll probably start. And then we got 20-year-old Jaylen Brown, of course, the number 3 overall pick in the 2016 draft, who obviously coming off a Finals MVP, turned out to be a very big hit for the Celtics. And at this point, he's only a 73 overall, of course, as a rookie. They're not going to be a lot in terms of what we can expect from him, but I definitely, again, want to develop that overall. The power forward spot, not a single guy listed here. Definitely something we're going to have to address at some point. And finally, the center spot, where there's some decent depth. Of course, Al Horford was kind of the first big free agent signing, if you will, you know, post-Big 3 era in Boston. A lot of people thought Al Horford was going to go to either, you know, the Wizards, maybe he stays with the Hawks, and at the last moment ended up coming to the Celtics. And again, appreciative every day of that decision he made, you know, basically 10 years ago. Kelly Olynyk here, only 25, of course, the guy that's going to end up being a nice floor spacer for us. And then finally, Tyler Zeller. I really don't miss Tyler Zeller very much. And then a couple randoms behind them, obviously. So first and foremost, we have to address the power forward spot. I'd definitely like to sort that out. But we're going to be making some trades before we kick off year 1. I've traded for Ivica Zubac a few times in previous videos, and I don't love repeating moves, but it's definitely been a little while since we have made this trade, and ultimately I'm pretty desperate in terms of my backup big man right now. So this swap here with the Los Angeles Lakers is going to send Zeller, Leon Burks, whoever the hell that is, in a 2017 second to LA for Ivica Zubac and Jose Calderon. Now Calderon will likely be somebody we also flip immediately. Zubac will come in and be the backup to Al Horford, and what this will allow me to do is move Kelly Olynyk, again, a guy that can kind of space the floor, to the power forward spot. We also move Jay Crowder there. I understand it's probably not the smartest move in the world because he is only 6'6", and you know, this isn't the big bruising era of big men in basketball, but there are certainly still a lot of kind of throwback power forwards in the league at this point. So that is probably going to be something we only do for one season, but it is also going to go ahead and allow us to start Jaylen Brown at the 3, which I do think is a smart move because I want to develop him as much as possible. I don't mean to keep beating that dead horse, but it is definitely what I'm trying to do. So we're all set at the 4 and the 5. I do want to find myself a backup 3, and then I actually wouldn't mind maybe considering anyways some other trades as well, because Gerald Green is not going to be brought back after this season. He's just too old. So we have to figure out something there. So I'm thinking backup shooting guard. Guy like Troy Daniels, I actually don't hate that just because he's low enough overall. Josh Richardson, I've done that trade a bunch, so I don't want to really look that direction. Georges Niang, it's actually probably not a bad move. He's going to have years of team control left. Yeah, we're actually going to make that move right there. All right, thank you very much, Indiana. And then I don't have to trade Gerald Green, but if there's an offer out there for a shooting guard that's maybe under a multi-year contract, a little bit younger, whatever it's going to be, I'll probably look to take that as well for our final move. Also, I moved Marcus Smart to the 2-guard spot. Just, again, want to develop him, play him as much as possible. So, shooting guard, I can get J.R. Smith. I'm going to take this trade. Or do I take this one here for Troy Daniels? Actually, I'm going to take this one for Troy Daniels for a couple reasons. One, we're going to get a draft pick out of it. Two, it's a multi-year deal, but it's not as expensive as JR. So we're going to give up 3 seconds in the deal. That's fine by me. Let's set the rotation. I'm not really sure what to expect for this first season. Now, obviously, real life, this team won 53 games, had the best record in the Eastern Conference, and, you know, that would be very good. I just don't think that's going to be the situation we find ourselves here with it today. Now, the starting 5 looks like this. Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jay Crowder, and Al Horford again. I know a lot of guys in there are kind of out of position, if you will, but that is certainly something we can figure out at a future date. Bench unit is not great. Kelly Olynyk and Ivica Zubac, my 4 and my 5 are going to be my 6th and my 7th men. Not exactly ideal, but got to kind of give what we got. Troy Daniels, who we obviously just acquired. Georges Niang, who we just acquired as well. And finally, Scary Terry rounding out this rotation behind Isaiah Thomas. So I'm hoping this team can be good. I do think it's a playoff team. I just don't think it's going to be a 1 seed, anything like that, especially, you know, with LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, that whole ordeal over there. So this is what we're working with for now. I don't know who the hell Todd James is. I don't know why Brad Stevens isn't in 2K, but he's not. So cool. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1. This team actually finished with a better record than they had in real life. We won 56 games here. I 1000% will take that. I'm not sure if it's the 1 seed, but if it's anything around that, great first season for us, excuse me. Now, Russell Westbrook, absolutely insane numbers. Very much deserving of an MVP. Embiid, Jared Sullinger, DeAndre Jordan, Nikola Jokic, and Popovich. 66 wins there in San Antonio. So we're the 3 seed. You can see it right there while looking at the playoff matchups. Here is a look at the full standings. 8 games behind the 1 seed, 64 win Cleveland Cavaliers. And here's a look at the Western Conference. That is just an absolute bloodbath. Okay, let's get into some of the numbers. Isaiah was absolutely fantastic for us. By far our leading scorer, by far our best player. You got Al Horford in here kind of doing his thing with about 13, 14 points a game, about 9 rebounds, 3.5 assists. You got Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart, Troy Daniels, Jaylen Brown, Olynyk, Zubac, Rozier, and Niang. Now, rebounding department going to be led by Horford. Assist going to be IT. So, you know, the Detroit Pistons here, this is obviously a different era of Detroit basketball. This was not a very successful era of Detroit basketball, but the Andre Drummond-led Pistons could be a pain in the ass to play sometimes, if I remember correctly. So, I'm not saying this is going to be the hardest series in the world. I think we will win. Okay, maybe it is going to actually not be too hard whatsoever. Okay, we win in 5. Now, on the road, of course, home court advantage here for the 2-seeded Raptors, who are really, really good, both in 2K and in this game. You know, it's in 2K and in this game, in 2K and in real life at this time. Unfortunately, there was a man named LeBron James that kind of prevented this group from getting to the NBA Finals for pretty much the entire DeMar DeRozan era in Toronto. So we're not going to win this series down 3-0. We do kind of scrap out a game, but then we get bounced in 5. So it is just, oh, wow. I spoke too soon. I guess 2K has different ideas of what LeBronto really was all about, but Kyle Lowry getting a Finals MVP. Good for you. I'm surprised they beat the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors weren't, there's no injuries on or anything like that. So, wow, that's insane. This game really loves the Toronto Raptors, at least in the Curry era. Okay, let's get into our first offseason. Of course, a lot of moves going to be made here. First and foremost, we are going to go ahead and have the Brooklyn Nets pick. I don't think they made the playoffs. I'm hoping they didn't. It's going to be projected number 6 right now, which, could be. Obviously, in real life, it was number 3, and, you know, they took a guy named Jason Tatum. He ended up being pretty good. So, here in 2K, it ends up falling to 7. Not the end of the world, not my favorite. Head coach, I'd like you know, to bring in Brad Stevens. Right? He was the coach at this time. It would have been nice. I'll throw some money at Donnie Nelson here, see if he's interested in taking a spot. I'm actually going to pass on Stauffer today, just because I've gotten him in a lot of videos recently. Could I bring Doc Rivers back to Boston? Hypothetically, I could, but I also want to win a championship, so probably not the best idea. I've won with Jacob Underwood before, but I think there's some guys with some better ratings out there. Let's just see. Budenholzer's here. I actually don't hate that. Him or Quinn Snyder. I'll actually throw some money at both these guys. I just want one of them. Hopefully somebody that can kind of not carry us to the next guy, because I think they'll probably be permanent. Oh, we got all of them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I'm going to choose Don Nelson. Okay, welcome, Donnie. Okay, let's approach the 2017 draft. We have the 7th overall pick, which, you know, I was wishing it was a little bit better. I'm going to consider a few different trade offers for this pick. I'm not 100% sold on drafting somebody here. I also could move up, but I think with this team and how good we already are, it might be a little bit more beneficial to maybe trade this for an established player. So, not 100% sold. Obviously, the right deal has to come along, but that's just kind of where my thoughts are as of now. Oh, shit. Wow, that went through. I did not think that was going to go through. All right, we pulled off a big deal here with a conference rival in the Cleveland Cavaliers, sending out Jay Crowder, Troy Daniels, the number 7 overall pick this year, and then our unprotected first-round pick next year. Now, Kevin Love on paper, you know, is, you know, not Minnesota Kevin Love. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's a superstar, but he's a nice quality addition to this team, and he's a clear-cut upgrade and another scoring threat that we really kind of desperately could have used. So he's going to take over at that power forward spot. It is a very nice upgrade here, and probably will have a little bit of a better impact than whoever we drafted number 7 overall would have. So we're going to go ahead and obviously welcome him to the team. We're going to bring back Smart, Niang, and Rozier, and I don't think we're done making upgrades, because I think there's one more move out there that could really benefit this team quite a bit. Now, obviously, Gordon Hayward is sitting here, and, you know, we could go out and do what the Celtics did in real life and sign Gordon Hayward and hopefully not see what ended up happening to him to his first game as a Celtic, because that was not a very fun day to be a Celtics fan. So, Hayward, we have a little bit of money if we wanted to throw it at him. In terms of any of the really big names here like Steph or KD or Paul, we're just not going to really have the funds to do that, especially after the Kevin Love deal. So, you know, I wouldn't hate signing Hayward. I did get him in the last video, so maybe I'll pass upon that. Maybe I throw some money at a guy like Otto Porter, which I don't think would be the worst idea in the world, or a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., maybe a little bit of a scoring upgrade at our shooting guard spot, because there's not a lot of other names outside of that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to look at the contract situation we got going on right now. Of course, next offseason, we're likely going to have to pay Isaiah Thomas, likely going to have to pay Marcus Smart. So I think now, you know, moving on somebody who's a free agent would probably be beneficial towards us. So let's just see. I honestly think Tim Hardaway Jr. makes a lot of sense for us. Pretty good season with Atlanta last year. Now, does he have an offer from the Hawks? He does not. So if I throw like, I don't want to overpay him, but I also don't want Atlanta to match. If I throw like $12 million annually, they won't match. Okay, beautiful. Welcome to the team, Tim Hardaway Jr. Again, it's not a be-all, end-all signing. I think there are, you know, better shooting guards out there for us, but I'm going to, you know, very much welcome him to this group. They're not really paying Kelly Olynyk a lot, so let's pay him about $4 million annually. Welcome back, Kelly. And I'm not sure if that's going to be it for major moves, because I think a lot of what we're going to, you know, kind of count on heading into next season is going to be the development of a lot of guys. Of course, Zubac's going to get better. We're assuming Jaylen Brown's certainly going to take a next step. Marcus Smart and Scary Terry as well. So, you know, we were a really good team last year. We just weren't I cannot fucking speak today. Weren't quite where we wanted to be. So hopefully the addition of Kevin Love, along with the development of some other names, is able to help push us along. I don't know who the fuck Earl Garland is, but please leave. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll see you guys with the rotation. Now it is time for our second season here in Boston. Year 1 was absolutely fantastic. It felt like we kind of hit, you know, our ceiling in terms of the talent we did have. Of course, getting to the second round and getting our ass kicked by the Raptors isn't fun, but all things considered, it's a positive year 1. So year 2 made some upgrades, obviously. Isaiah Thomas now joined by Tim Hardaway Jr. here in our backcourt. Super nice to see Jaylen Brown developing. Cannot speak today. Up to a 79. Of course, the big blockbuster that landed us, Kevin Love. Still got Al Horford going strong at that center spot. Bench unit also improved. Marcus Smart now sliding into a 6-man role. Beats Zubac behind him. Got Scary Terry up to a 76 as well. Kelly Olynyk. And finally, Georges Niang. So, you know, I'm excited. New head coach in here as well with Donnie Nelson. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with this team. You know, are we a championship caliber team? I'd like to think so, but we'll find that out together at the end of year number 2. Feels like it's going to be one of those days that 2K is going to be really nice to me. 65-17 is the record here at the end of year 2, and although I do think we're a really talented squad, I don't think we're a 65-win team, but 2K apparently does. Now, LeBron James winning MVP here, Lonzo Ball Rookie of the Year. Carmelo Anthony is now coming off the bench in New York. Now, I understand he's 33, and I don't mean, I guess regressing a little, if you even want to give him that, but really? Hassan Whiteside is your depoy. Emmanuel Mudiay, most improved, and Stephen Butler, whoever the hell you are, coach of the year there in Toronto. Yes, Toronto. What is going on with me today? All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. We are actually not the 1 seed here. You know, you win 65 games, you assume you're probably in the clear, but we are not. We are 1 game behind the 1 seed, defending champion, Toronto Raptors. Okay, let's dive into some numbers real quick, see how everybody looked for us. Isaiah Thomas, again, leading us in points per game, was absolutely fantastic. Kevin Love really emerging as our number 2 option, was a very, very welcomed addition to this group. Tim Hardaway Jr., Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, Zubac, Rozier, Smart, Olynyk, and then Niang. Rebounding department going to be Love. So it's going to be IT. Okay, us and the Pistons once again here in round 1. You know, they've made some, you know, not crazy. Actually, I don't think they've done anything. I think some of the overalls have kind of just gone up. I think this team is very beatable. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we kicked them, you know, out of the playoffs last year. I think we can do it again. So end up winning in 5 once again. It is now the 6th seed New York Knicks. Derrick Rose, they drafted Donovan Mitchell. They signed Gordon Hayward, obviously Tingus Pingus. So I guess that is why Melo's coming off the bench. How hard would it be to play KP at the 5 and slide Melo into the 4? Is that rocket science? I guess it is. Okay, well, they're a 6 seed, and they're beating us. They are just literally destroying us. Okay, we're fighting back a little. No, we got bounced in 6. I'm not sure how they were a 6 seed, to be completely honest with you. And wow, if that isn't ironic. Melo, of course, left Denver to go to New York, and, you know, bigger market, all those, and championship expectations, and of course never happened. And Nikola Jokic gets finals MVP. All right, well, it is our final offseason. We are, you know, at the point of this video where we have a lot of decisions to make. You know, I think we're good enough to, you know, advance with the continued development to maybe the Eastern Conference or the NBA Finals, but we're in this to win it. We're not in this to, you know, not do what the fuck am I saying? We're in this to win the damn thing. I want to go ahead and make sure we're able to do that. So we have the Brooklyn Nets pick. It's at number 22. Again, they took a step and they've gotten better. Good with Don Nelson, of course, having perfect ratings. And as we approach the 2018 NBA draft, I do think it would be beneficial to maybe draft somebody. So I'll sit there at 22 because we do have a lot of other picks to kind of play with. That's one of the good things about this era of the Celtics. They had a lot of draft capital. A guy like Mitchell Robinson wouldn't be bad. You also see Jalen Brunson sitting here, but at a C-, you know, overall, he's probably going to be low 70s, if not high 60s. So I'm going to take Robinson, you know, hypothetically, if I knew what they were to become and I had 5 years left, probably going to be Jalen Brunson, no question. But from a positional need and, you know, maybe just a trade asset, I think Robinson makes a little bit more sense because they'll likely be a higher overall. So welcome to the team. Is going to be a 73. Team player options, everybody there will be brought back. Marcus Smart will be qualified. And yeah, I mean, Isaiah Thomas is going to be a free agent. Of course, we're going to pay him, no doubt about that. We're going to pay Marcus Smart, but I do think this team needs at least one more upgrade. I'm working on a trade here with the Lakers, and this one might shock some of you, but after doing many of these Curry-era rebuilds, D'Angelo Russell develops like crazy in these videos. Like by the time next season ends, he'll likely be in the high 80s. So it was somewhat hefty price to give up in terms of the draft capital, but of course we don't really have a reason to kind of not move it considering we can't take it with us, obviously. So I'm going to slide D'Lo in next to Isaiah Thomas. Tim Hardaway Jr. certainly did his job for us for a season, but D'Lo is going to be an overall upgrade. Of course, we'll take a look at his numbers from last season. They were pretty damn good. So I think he's going to be a nice addition to this team. I hope he is enough in terms of major moves. But to be completely honest with you, I tried to trade for Jimmy Butler. I tried to trade for DeMar DeRozan. I tried to trade for Bradley Beal. And unfortunately, none of their teams were having it. So D'Angelo Russell is going to be the guy. Of course, still only 22 years old. Likely going to shoot up a lot in terms of the overall. So I know I drafted Mitchell Robinson. I really, unfortunately, just don't need him. So maybe I look to trade him just for somebody at the backup small forward spot. You know, I'll look at small forward / shooting guards making like $3 million or less. Probably not a very long list. Going to be a lot of rookie scale contracts, but let's just see. Like Booker's not going to happen. Justice Winslow, who doesn't get me super excited. At one point, maybe would have gotten me a little bit more excited, but he's an overall upgrade here. And what are his numbers? Just curious. Not that it really matters, but it's fine. So I'll give up all these draft picks if it's, you know, going to happen. Probably not, though. One more. Oh, wow. They actually took it. All right. Well, Justice Winslow is now going to be the backup to Jaylen Brown. You know, we're getting a little bit younger on this team, and I think we are in about as good of a spot as we could be. So we have yet to make a conference finals, but hopefully this is a group that can do it. See you guys with the rotation. Final season for us here in Boston. So far throughout this video, we've had a lot of regular season success that unfortunately just hasn't turned into a ton of playoff success. Now, we've capped out at the second round in the previous 2 seasons. Now, this offseason, we decided to make some moves and hopefully put ourselves over the hump. So here's how the starting 5 in the bench is going to look. Isaiah Thomas, now joined by D'Angelo Russell in the backcourt. You can see he's up to an 86 overall. Hopefully continues to develop, play really well for us. Jaylen Brown up to an 85. Really good to see. Still got Kevin Love, Al Horford manning the front court. All right, bench unit has certainly taken, some additions. With Justice Winslow, who is an 83. Scary Terry up to an 80. You got Ivica Zubac in here. Marcus Smart, who I kind of feel bad for. He went from starting shooting guard in year 1 to 6th man in year 2 to 9th man in year 3. But unfortunately, the overall really didn't move, so is what it is. And then Kelly Olynyk rounding it out here. So I like it. I think this is as good as it was possibly going to get, and I really do think this team can get a championship. So see you guys at the end of the final regular season. This might be my first time seeing KD win an MVP in one of these. Insane considering, this is, in my opinion anyways, the best version of Kevin Durant. We go 75-7. Fucking nuts, I know. Luka Doncic in a Sixers jersey winning Rookie of the Year. Jeremy Lin, your 6th man. Giannis wins Depoy. Malik Beasley, most improved. And our guy, Donnie Nelson. 75 wins is insane, and I would act a lot more surprised, except I've seen it multiple times throughout these Curry era rebuilds. So, yeah, I was going to be a little shocked if we weren't, clearly the 1 seed here in the Eastern Conference and the best record in the league, but we do have both of those respectives. All right, numbers. Isaiah Thomas, D'Angelo Russell, Kevin Love, Jaylen Brown, Horford, Winslow, Rozier, Zubac, Smart, and then Olynyk. Rebounds, Love, assists, Thomas. Okay, first time being a 1 seed. Going to be us against Orlando, who signed LeBron, and they have Jason Tatum and Vuz. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, why? Why is that an 8 seed? I mean, seriously? Good God. Okay, we're handling business, which is a really good sign right out of the gate, but my God, that's a pain. And, of course, now taking on the team that beat us last year here in the New York Knicks. So, I'm nervous. The Eastern playoffs aren't supposed to be this hard. Really? I mean, we won 75 games. I don't really know what I'm freaking out about. And now a Cavs team that doesn't have LeBron or Kevin Love is going to be here. I mean, Kyrie's going crazy, but really? I'm not going to lie. This might be the team that I'm scared the least of so far throughout the playoffs, but all right. Well, we finally lost the game. It is us and the Clippers here. Really? Okay. Hold on a damn minute. 2K yet. No, we're not doing that shit. Thank you. 3-1 championship. Got Isaiah Thomas that finals MVP. I know it's only 5 games, but those are insane numbers. Mind-blowing shooting splits. 63, 63, 100. That is so fucking nuts. All right, man. This was a fun rebuild. It's always fun rebuilding my favorite team. And, I understand it's not the most challenging rebuild in the world, but I saw a couple of requests to do it. And, of course, I kind of wanted to do it anyways. So, this one was a lot of fun. They're not all going to be this easy. They're not all going to go this well, but it's always enjoyable to, get one like this every now and then. So, let me know which team you want me to do next, along with any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section. I am very much enjoying these rebuilds so far. I think we're about a third of the way through. I think we've done about 10 of these, maybe a few more, but we're going to continue till we get through all 30 teams. So let me know which one you want to do next. And that's it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.